The following is a presentation of Real Wise Productions and Comey Media Incorporated. Can a shock jock really live in these politically correct times? And a bigot in 2023? Oh boy. Next on Mentality. Welcome to another installment of Mentality, the place where iron sharpens iron in the areas of health, mental health, wealth, love, brotherhood, and entrepreneurship from a man's perspective. I am one of the hosts of this show, the co-host known as Cole Johnson, and I am joined as always by the other co-host of this show, one Mr. Wize El Jefe. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, brother. Can't complain. I am blessed to be able to do this. So,
well, I'm blessed to be able to do this with you. Well, it looks like Fetty Wap is doing time. Well, he was sentenced recently to a 6-year prison stint in federal prison for his role in a New York-based drug trafficking scheme. The rapper, who of course is most known for the song Trap Queen, he pleaded guilty in August of last year to conspiracy drug charges that carried a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years. Now, he apologized for his actions, and he told the judge that he was being selfish in his pride, and it put him in the position that he was in and facing today. Now, he was arrested in October of 2021 of those charges. It was in participating in conspiracy to smuggle large amounts of heroin, fentanyl, and other drugs into the NYC area. Now, my question to you, sir, is the following. Why are we still trapped in the street game to get ahead?
the question should be, why is Fetty Wap still running the streets after being successful as a hip hop artist? That's what the question should be.
Okay. Well, then I will. Then I'll erase the last one. I'll put that one there. Okay.
No, but you're absolutely right. That's still an issue that's plaguing our community.
Yeah.
Is where we see, and it has to do a lot with the music that they're glamorizing now.
Yeah.
It's gone from Kumo D and KRS-One to where we got to where it's Big Pac and everything else, and now it's like a genre that people didn't want to put on the air because of the language and whatever it is. Is now the number one, but it's now the number one genre in the world. But it's no longer about lyricists. It's now about who's moving this, who's moving that, and these artists are indicting themselves.
I've been hearing that. It's like, okay, so it's interesting that these artists have that they speak about this life, but it almost seems as though They snitch on themselves in order to actually prove that they are about that life. And and you do raise a really good question. Why is it that even though they get put on, I'm not saying that they make millions off the street, because we both know, and I know many out there also know how crooked the music game still is even to this moment.
Yeah.
But still, you would think that they wouldn't have to turn to such means even after they find some sort of success and they actually do put out an album and they actually go on tour. At some
And
point, you would think they would make some money
no, and they
somewhere.
do. No, listen. The smart ones make money. The smart ones make their money.
Hmm.
It's completely like it's different now from when we were younger and the music
Yeah.
and what these artists were being paid back then. A lot of them got screwed from their
Oh yeah.
royalties and all this other
From the
different.
jump. Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now you have these artists that don't necessarily need the labels.
Right.
They create a website, create the music, create a fan base, and they can sustain themselves. And then they start doing these tours and all. So the money is there to be made, but it's just the music that they're pushing. It's like the major labels are pushing the music that's not about anything. It's not
Yeah.
about anything positive or it's all about this girl that or this
Hmm.
hoe or that or
Hmm.
it's just crazy that the music that they promote has nothing to do with positivity.
Right.
It's all
Yeah.
about the negative aspect of the black community.
Yeah. And that's what almost when I hear that, that is true what you said earlier. When I hear that hip hop is the number one, without a question, shadow of a doubt, music art form in the world today, that is what hurts me so much, because I'm like, I love the art form, but a lot of what is being put out there doesn't truly represent what the art form originally stood for. And we grew up, with the Big Daddy Kanes and the Rakims and the KRS Ones and Public Enemies, and then before then Run DMC and LL, and even before then the Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five and Kumo D. We grew up with these artists that really wanted to say something, and they actually spoke to the conditions in which we lived in, and we were like, yeah, yeah, this is going on in where I live, and I think I can attach to these cats because they're speaking what I'm seeing, and then they're giving me hope in the process. But not today.
And that's why groups like NWA, like people want to talk about that NWA started, but they were speaking the streets.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
NWA
Yeah.
was actually
Mm-hmm.
speaking about what was going on in
Yeah.
the streets.
Yeah. They just did it a little differently, but yes,
It was
they
a
did.
little bit more rugged and raw, but
Right.
it
But he
was,
was
it
still
was
speaking facts. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but now what these artists are spewing and the music that the just drill music, and don't get me wrong, every generation has their music,
Of course.
and it's that this is their music. This is now
Mm-hmm.
has become their music. I enjoy the music that I enjoyed. There's certain artists I do listen to now, but
Mm-hmm.
I catch myself listening to more to music that I grew up enjoying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think back now to when we were teenagers, and now I harken back to when my mother and my father would listen to songs back then, and then they would listen to what I would listen to, and they'd say, "What the heck you listening to? I
Yeah.
don't, I don't get what you get in the value out of it." And now I totally get it. I totally understand it now because I'm at that age where that's exactly how I think. I'm like, oh wow. I was like, okay, the youngsters can enjoy what they do. I know what I like, and I'm gonna bump it.
And that's and so I don't really go into the not, but it's just ridiculous that these young boys continue to not see that listen, maybe you shouldn't talk about what you did last night.
Speak on it, bro. Yeah.
I'm saying maybe you should keep that to yourself. Like real G's moves in silence. They move in silence. Nobody.
Right.
Anytime a G boasted on what he did, it came back. It came back
Came
and
back
bit
to
him.
bite. Came back to bite him. And we were told this when we were younger. It's like, look, don't broadcast what you do, because if you do, you might have the wrong people searching out for you, and either you might be in jail or end up dead. I know you heard that. I heard that. And the fact that this lesson seems to not have taken effect even now, that's what makes me scratch my head about talking about an artist now who, when he came out, he was one of the most popular. And I'm like, this dude has to do time because he was moving weight. After he got on, he was moving weight. Like,
and that's crazy, because I'm sure there was some of the big homies. And that's the thing. Like, where was some of the big homies at to let them know, like, dude, you in the game. You don't. If you do this the right way, you can eat for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
and he's talented. That's what blows me away. And he's talented. I'm like, the heck?
How much keys are you moving that you do one show? Because back in the days, they weren't making the money they making now to do a show, to make an appearance.
No, not even close. They're making good money now.
It just boggles my mind sometimes, man, to see talented people not listen. The objects, the point of the game is to get out of the circumstances you're in.
At least that's what I thought.
And one of the things that we're afraid of is like, oh, what the hood is going to think about me if I leave. Well, does it matter?
You do it right, the hood's going to follow what you do.
Why would you? Your aspirations should be to inspire your community to get to for bigger and better things. Like, yeah, we come from the ghetto, but we can evolve and move out, because there's no way we're going to transform the ghetto. Right. So what we do is evolve, move on, move out, and try to inspire people to and show them that, hey, look, I came from where you're from.
Right.
Look where I'm at now. Look what I'm doing now.
And you can do the same thing. Yeah.
It's not too late. It's change is good. And that's where a lot of people fail to realize, is that sometimes you need that change. Sometimes you need to move on.
We're just getting started. Mentality will return. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
It's your girl, Stacey Rose.
Are you looking for a show with riveting interviews, important community information from a vibrant and grounded host? STK Productions presents The Intro Kit.
Put God first and ask questions later. Let's get it popping. I wanted to give people a platform where they can express themselves and talk about their business and their endeavors in a very safe space.
Content and entertainment just for you. The Intro Kit.
Friday Eve.
Or Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central.
This is all docked up.
Chris, listen, I gotta go to work, Jay. I cannot take a shot every time we say enemies. Very jealous. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. VJ.
So he flies her out. She says, "Thank you. That was very kind of you." Like, Pernilla's not starstruck. She was like, "Yeah, you ought to if you want me to come." I wasn't going to foot the bill.
Heroes.
He literally threatened her. His message says, "I see you blocking me on WhatsApp. I don't know why, but this is not going to turn out good for you. Because I blocked you on WhatsApp? You threatened me and my mama?"
Welcome back to Mentality, where this is the place. Well, we always say that this is the ultimate masculine safe space. This is also the place where this show was created for all men. With Wize and Cole, I'm Cole Johnson. And turning our attention to someone that I know my brother is familiar with, considering that he grew up in New York. At the same time that he grew up in New York, this guy was extremely popular in New York, and he still is now. But is his way of being who he is still good for today's times? Well, welcome to Celebrity Style. The ultimate shock jock, Howard Stern, is now receiving criticism for his on-air commentary and presence, actually, toward many of his female guests over the course of his over 40 years of his show. Now, he's drawn, of course, the ire of social media with a bevy of resurfaced interview clips, which features Stern's conversations with numerous female celebrities, Lisa Marie Presley, Mariah Carey, Courtney Love, Sofia Vergara, and Nicole Smith, amongst others. Now, in the clips, you can hear Stern making provocative comments to his guests, such as, "You wearing panties? What do you wear? A thong?" Or he will ask another, "Just stand there for a second. Let me look at you. Your body's hot." Why is this an issue with Howard Stern now, as opposed to when we were in school?
Because we're woke now, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea. Like, back then, it was raunchy. For like, he has his detractors, yes, but this man also has a following that is crazy. There's a lot of people that think like him, that enjoy his kind of raunchiness, his show. And now, because of the politically correctness of everything, it's an issue. Like, at that time, during that time when he was saying these things, these women could have said something. If they chose to answer, that was on them. If they chose to, I've never been a big, huge Howard Stern fan. It's just his humor wasn't my my cup of tea. But my friend Angel Martinez, rest in peace, my brother, he was a big, huge Howard Stern fan, and I'm talking about religiously. He would tune into him when he was in the mornings or whatever. And when he gave his pay-per-view specials, he would buy them, and he was huge. And so it doesn't surprise me now with the way people are so overly sensitive on certain things.
Yeah.
Now you can't. Now the certain things that you say can be considered sexual harassment. These things, these are now times where you can't be asking women what color their panties are. You can't. It's, you need to evolve with the times, and if you don't, then see you, brother. Like, they're gonna come after you. They're gonna cancel you eventually. They're gonna eventually get you. Eventually they're gonna get you.
You're right about that.
And they feel that you're a dinosaur and you need to be put out to pasture.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do it, and it's sad to see him go, because he was so entertaining for many years. I've had quite a few laughs about Howard Stern. But again, like I said, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't someone who continuously followed him. I probably haven't heard a Howard Stern show in decades. Like it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But bro, the times are calling for change, and your sense of humor, it's archaic, I guess. In the way of your form of thinking, because people are not looking at it that way now. They're not looking at it as funny. They're looking at it like, oh, you're being very disrespectful and rude. Which sometimes you might think so.
Yeah. And I'm similar to you. I didn't have a I can't stand the guy type of thing, but I did have those moments of, dude, you really not have to ask that type of question to her. But I understood that he appealed, like you said, he appealed to a certain audience, and that certain audience loved him, and he was, in my opinion, in the best city in which to be embraced.
New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that time, listen. His audience was 18 to 35.
Right.
At that time, his demographic. And the people he would have on later on, he would get the huge celebrities, but some of the first people he would get on were porn stars, strippers.
Exactly.
And which red-blooded American boy did not want to see strippers and hear from porn stars?
Right.
But times have changed. They got Pornhub now. They got all these other things. They don't need you, Howard, no more.
Yeah. Well, you do have an interview platform, one that is much, much, much less controversial and actually much, much more beneficial to the human condition. And no, I'm not just saying that because I'm bigging my brother up. I really do believe in this platform. Stuck in my mind. You can look at it every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on the Wize TV, YouTube, and Stuck in My Mind YouTube channel. But enough of the plugging. If you were in Howard Stern's position, how would you interview those guests?
Oh man, I don't know, because I don't think the guests that he would interview are the ones I'm interested in. Like,
that's a really good answer.
It's just his guests aren't the ones that aren't interesting to me, aren't the ones that are meant for me to have those conversations. Like I've spoken to, like, when I first started, I spoke to Stevie Ray, who's one half of the Harlem Heat, and that's because I'm a big wrestling fan. And then I got the opportunity to speak to Vince Russo, and for those out there who know Vince Russo, he was one of the big reasons of the Attitude Era.
Right.
And so these were two people that I knew about growing up, because I am a huge wrestling fan. So those were more personal. Those interviews were more personal for me than having to do with anything about the podcast. Now my guests now are more teachers, or more coaches, or more mentors. And so those are the conversations I would have. So of course my interview style would be different, because it's much more of a knowledge-based conversation compared to them plugging a movie or whatever it is.
Yeah. And the reason why I asked that particular question to you is because I think a guy like him, I think if you were to come up now and do the same thing, it just wouldn't register the same way. Because I mean, you could, I mean, he might become, or she might become, a YouTube sensation. Okay, but the mainstream success like that, I don't think would come to that person today.
No. Not with consequences eventually.
Right. Yeah. Because it would come with the price.
You would offend someone. You would definitely would
Yes.
offend someone, and they would come after you. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would be something where, like I said, nowadays you can't say anything about anyone without someone being offended or being hurt, or even when you just speak and how you feel. It's crazy that you can't speak on what's on your mind or however you feel about a situation without people running quickly to judge you, without really knowing you, knowing your character, and knowing where you're coming from on whatever the topic is.
Right. Yeah, and I'm seeing that platforms like yours, I think that's where it's tilting toward. It's tilting toward, okay, so if it's going to be an interview platform, what can the guest give me, and what can this show because of the interviewer give me? And when I say because of the interviewer, basically the caliber of guest is reflective of the show and reflective of the thoughts of the interviewer, because especially with one who it produces his own, like Wize does, and I do too, but definitely in Wize's case, you're having that eye toward, okay, this person would be good for my audience. Now, how can I make this person good for my audience with what he or she represents? And that is hard to do if you happen to be a porn star, or you have to be a celebrity that might be risque in presentation, or a celebrity that's huge, but you want to ask pointed questions in the way of being confrontational. And I'm not saying that Howard Stern is confrontational, but his style can be.
Yeah. Because
you have to be bold in asking a lot of these questions, or saying a lot of things that he does. But yeah, I mean, I think interview platforms are tilting toward what you're doing now, where it's, you watch the show and you want to get value from it. You look at it, you see it, and you're like, okay, I am getting something from it. Whereas with Howard Stern, it is straight up entertainment only. And there's some who can give you that entertainment style too, yes. But the viewer today seems to want more. At least that's what I'm seeing. And I think that's what's ushering him closer and closer to being out the box. And I don't mean out the box as in innovative. I mean out the box as in not even mattering in society.
No,
but speaking of
he had his time. He had his time, and it's everyone has that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And his moment is coming past. He's had a great run.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, long run. Yeah. But speaking about relevancy, so he's eyeing a presidential run next year. Now, if you were looking at a ballot come that time in November, would you pull the lever for him if he were?
Howard Stern?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm tired of these celebrities running for office. I'm celebrities out, man.
Mentality will be back in 2 and 2. What's on E. Dicka's mind?
A and B, I'm going to see my way out of it. Because why? I don't care. I have a message for people who do nothing but complain about black people. We can't change who we are. You called the cops on me. I think that every time you call the cop on someone on a false accusation, your need to be a little bit punished.
BS3 Network proudly presents a man with a lot to say and is unabashed to say it. What's on E Digger's mind? Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. The Mocha Minutes Podcast, a black person safe space. Well, I'll let Stephanie talk about it further.
You would be a Michael Jai White. I'm sorry. No. I like him. He's so pretty when he don't talk. Would Will Smith, if this was a white comedian, would he went up and slapped him? Would y'all have a problem with it if it was a white comedian doing this? People who say water or wash, I'm like, how did wash get an R in it? Stand up! I don't know why 5 Heartbeats just popped in my head. Stand up!
From entertainment to society and culture, that comprises of the Mocha Minutes Podcast, hosted by Stephanie. Welcome back to Mentality, where men are being men, and that's a good thing, with Wize and FM Cole Johnson. Now, you may have heard of a punter who was released by the Bills last year for allegedly being a part of a gang rape. Well, we're going to talk about something that I think we need to discuss a little further in something to ponder. Now, former Bills punter Matt Araiza was released last year when charges were brought up against him back when he played at San Diego State University. Now, since then, an internal investigation was conducted and they found no wrongdoing by the former punter in an alleged a gang rape that took place off campus in October of 2021. Now, the San Diego District Attorney office, they decided late last year to not press criminal charges against Araiza. But they still are saying that we're still keeping the door open a little bit. Now, the accuser alleged in the suit that the then 21-year-old punter had sex with her in a side yard at an off-campus house before bringing her into a bedroom where a group of men took turns raping her. Now, the woman, who was then at the time 17, said that the alleged rape the following day, which investigated the allegations for 9 months before turning over this investigation to prosecutors on August 5th, brought forth all of this. But now he is, as of this moment, cleared of all charges. He is now trying out, I believe he's trying out for the Jets, if I'm not mistaken, to be on their squad. Now, I will ask this straight up, straight out. Why do some women want to put men in such compromising situations?
Because they can. It's like, and it's listen. There's women that, yes, they've been raped and it's happened, yes. But what is the penalty for those that lie about it?
With that being said, do you believe if a woman makes a false claim like this, that she should be arrested?
Oh man, I don't want to see anyone go to jail, but what something has to be done. Some form of payment, something like you've taken away from this person because you lied. And now what? Now you can continue. You can just go on and live your life while this person went through something very traumatic of serving time in prison or having to deal with the stigmatism that you're a rapist, even though you might have not did it. So something, I don't know. I don't want, is jail time the answer? I don't know. Is a civil lawsuit an answer? Who knows? Because maybe this person might never amount to anything that, or what can we really do that's going to justify returning this person's life back to them? They're never going to get back those years they missed. They're never going to get back the time that they had to deal with this.
How should the Shield or the National Football League react to such positive news about Araiza?
She should be given every opportunity to earn a job.
Yeah,
that's point blank. Like, the man has a right to earn a living, and if he's not guilty, if he's not found guilty of they're not pressing charges, insufficient evidence, then the man is not guilty.
Right.
Then he hasn't been charged with anything. Then he deserves the right to earn a living, earn a fair wage.
Yeah.
And if people don't like it, they can protest. That's their right. But this man hasn't been proved guilty, so you shouldn't be the first ones to cast any stones, because ain't nothing out there perfect.
Nope. Nope. But I am glad that he gets a chance to apply his trade again, because he deserves to. A person who's innocent does not need to have his or her, but in this case his, life railroaded.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that, and I was glad to hear that a team is taking a chance on him, and hopefully he has found his new home with the Jets. It might be the other 30. It might be the other 31 teams. Heck, he might go back to the Bills. Who knows?
Yeah.
What I do know is things like this is painful to those who are innocent, and hopefully we see less and less of this, because lives can get ruined, and lives have been ruined by false accusations of rape, and that should never ever happen. Later we will have Thoughts from the Throne. This is Mentality. Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Welcome back to Mentality, where love of men is actually a good thing. With Wize and Cole, I am Cole Johnson, and there is somebody that I did not think, because of his age, that we would do this to, but we have to do it because the idiocy is absolutely off the page. So, Mr. Glenn Schembechler III. It's time for you to come under the learning tree. Now, the son of longtime Michigan coach Bo Schembechler, or Glenn Schembechler Jr., he had to issue an apology this past weekend for what he called flippant behavior on Twitter that necessitated his resignation from the program the day prior. Now, 3 days after his hiring, the team's assistant recruiting director went public and sent his statement via Rose and Allen Public Relations that he deactivated his social media accounts. Why? Because he previously liked transphobic political conspiracies and multiple racially insensitive posts, including some which implied slavery and Jim Crow aided in the strengthening of black people and families. Now, he went on to apologize, and he said the following, quote, "My entire life and that of my dad and family has been devoted to the best in people, no matter their race, religion, or creed. Any words or philosophies that in any way seek to underplay the immeasurable suffering and long-term economic and social inequities that hundreds of years of slavery and the Jim Crow era caused for black Americans is wrong. I was wrong. We must never sanitize morally and unsanitary historical behaviors that have hindered the black community or any other community. There are no historical silver linings for the experience of our brothers and sisters. My sincerest apologies again and profusely to anyone I have offended, to the great institution that is University of Michigan, and to the broader athletic community that I have been honored to dedicate my life's work with the integrity and decency inspired by my family over the decades." Closed quote. All right. If his father was devoted to the best in people, before I begin this here, Glenn Schembechler III, his nickname is Shemy, as in doing the shimmy. So if his father was devoted to the best in people, why would Shemy support poisonous notions?
Because this is what's been ingrained in people his age. It's not. I can't get upset.
Before you continue, before you continue, actually, Shemy is 53, so he's not much older than we are.
Yes, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
But he still got a little bit of that kind of that generation pull on him.
I feel you.
What are people like? I don't understand. Like, don't y'all know you can't erase nothing from the clouds? When y'all gonna learn, man? When y'all gonna learn? Like the stuff you post, stuff you everything's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. There's probably something I posted. I don't know. Maybe in 2009, I might not be proud. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But what can you say, man? People just he's not for me. He's not even a nominee for that category. I'm not. He's not a nominee. He's not. He really isn't. Because this is just plain stupid. This is just stupid at the fact that, dude, you got caught, man. Like, I don't want to say he's a racist because I don't know, but he's got some racist tendencies. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would say that. But how could anyone think slavery and Jim Crow era laws had a positive impact on anybody?
No. That's like Kanye saying,
slavery's a choice.
Yeah. That's kind of along that line, man. And we all know what happened with that Negro.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'm like,
bro, you can't make some of this up. You can't, man. Like some of this, you would love to. You can't. You would love to be, but you just can't make some of this up. Some of this shit it just comes, man. Like how when you talk about perusing social media, it's like these stories just come. Like people, I don't know. They just be like, I didn't do nothing stupid today. Let me do something dumb. Like I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, man.
Now you get it. Exactly. I'm like, I don't search for this. It just drops in your lap. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. And when I was reading through this, I had to do a double take and read it over again because I had to see someone, even though, yes, he is a Generation Xer, a fellow Generation Xer, I still had to read it over again because I couldn't believe someone would actually co-sign having someone to be treated inhumanely because of skin color and do manual labor for free from sun up to sundown and be whipped, beaten, and some to death, and or when you get to the Jim Crow era, be hosed down and have dogs sicked on them, because if you were to think of going into a white establishment, that's what would happen to you. To actually say those things had a positive impact on any family or any community, and I would get if you were like one of those Marcus Garvey types, say, well, in the Jim Crow era, we had more black businesses because we had to have black businesses. I mean, black people couldn't go to white establishments, so we went to black businesses. Yes,
that was something that's been like, that's a lot of stuff. People, black historians that talk about slavery and talking about, oh yeah, before the Jim Crows was taken away, or where we actually got civil rights, black people actually flourished. They had their own businesses. But in an instant, those businesses could have been burnt down. If they decided that, oh yeah, Black Wall Street.
Oh, yeah, but going right where I was about to go. Oh, you mean like Black Wall Street in Tulsa?
Yeah. So y'all can talk about but back in those days, we had black businesses with but it could be taken away from you in an instant.
Yeah.
So it was how much really was it better?
Yeah. And remember, between 1865 and 1877, that freedom actually did exist. And guess what happened? Black people got too prosperous to some white people in power. And then they had to come with a compromise of 1877, and the Jim Crow laws were born. So, no, it was not good and it did not have a positive impact on black people.
No, not at all.
But in understanding this, because you have a great grasp of history, so as I believe I do, how could any in our generation believe in that cancer stuff? Anybody?
Listen, man, there's some in our generation that were it depends on where they were born, man. It really is depends on where you were born. Listen, I'm over it. I'm not judging them. It is what it is. There's people like him still in this world. You gotta accept it. But we just we combat it. We combat it with just continuously to show love and support to all our brothers, black, white, green, yellow, don't matter.
Yeah, because if you all have not understood by now, even though we are proud to be black men, we love all who come into our lives because brotherhood knows no color.
No doubt. No, listen, man. I have friends that are white, black, Hispanic, Asian. To me, it's all about how you treat me, regardless.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's never going to be about your color. It's always about how you treat me. Yeah. And the moment you feel like you want to disrespect me, that's the moment I don't mess with you no more.
Yeah, I dip. I'm out. Yeah.
So I respect everyone, regardless of who they are, what race, creed, social standing. That doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter to me either. And now, thoughts from the throne.
So, oh man, LeBron was eliminated from the playoffs. He was actually swept out. And he's considering retirement.
Oh no!
He is considering retirement, and I could get two. I could really not care if he decides to retire or continue to play.
Yes.
On Snowman, I said a comment that was hilarious because it's true. If LeBron was to come to the Knicks, I would be waving pom poms and cheering on and loving him. But he's not, so I'm not going to be that person. If you decide to retire LeBron, good for you. You had a great career. All-time leading scorer. Not the GOAT to me. There's other people that might disagree with me, whatever. But you've had a great career. I can't knock the accomplishments you've made. Not many people can go to 10 finals, even though you lost 6 of them. 10 finals is a lot, man. I got to give you a kudos, brother. But if you do decide to retire, happy trails. Good luck on your future endeavors. And if you decide to come back, oh well, you're not going to win another title. So that's just my thoughts from the throne today.
That's a biblical scripture that says, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who loves its fruit loves its life. And what does that mean? Well, that means if you were to say negative things or death things, then negative and death things would normally grace your doorstep because that's the energy you put forth. Now, if you were to actually say life affirming things, life is what you will get normally. And when it comes to relationships, especially between brothers. It has to get to a point where you have to at least try to bridge the gap. You have to attempt to find common ground. You have to see if there is some way, shape, form, or fashion that you can get from one, I guess you could say, divot in the road to the next and clear the hurdle. So if you're going to do something, speak positive things and surround yourself with positive people. Because the only thing that's negative that will prosper would be a person's cancerous presence that you no longer entertain. That is the only negative that is a positive. Otherwise, you're participating in death situations if you were to down a person that you would consider or once considered a brother. And you don't deserve that. You're too precious for it. And those are thoughts from the throne. All right, you have anything else to say to the people before we sign off, sir?
Yes, I do. I will continue with my everything about Boston. John Cena.
Oh, no.
Louis C.K. You, Benjamin Franklin. A big you to Nancy Kerrigan. Definitely you, Robert Kraft.
Oh, Lord.
Marky Mark and the entire Funky Bunch.
I'm surprised when you did go on that rant the first time that name wasn't mentioned.
Oh, no. So that's what I'm saying. I had to come back. So, yes. You, Marky Mark, and the entire Funky Bunch.
Not the entire Funky
The entire Funky Bunch. The entire Funky Bunch. You. You, Teddy Kennedy.
That man's old.
Oh, that's it. He's dead. I know he's dead, but him anyway. He's from Boston. So that's it for me today. There will be some more names added eventually because this is yes. But yeah, every one I said today, yes, definitely yes.
Oh my gosh, he said, and the entire Funky Bunch.
The entire Funky Bunch. Yeah.
Well, for those who don't reside in Boston and those who do, Wize may not feel this, but I think deep within his heart, he might. We thank you for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for commenting even, and for hitting that notification bell to get any and all updates, any and all premieres, and any and all new content that emanates from either the Comey Media Incorporated YouTube channel or the Real Wize TV YouTube channel. And that'll do it for this edition and installment of Mentality. We thank you for joining us. And for Wize El Jefe, I am Cole Johnson, saying and parting as we always do. Our secret technique is that we always speak with mentality. See you next week.
Peace.
That's 100.